Hi everybody, it's Doreen. Sunday is Mother's Day, and I had about 8 different Mother's Day cards that I wanted to make. And so I wanted to share with you at least 5 of them that I've made so far. And I have 3 more to go, but I have time to do those because the people that I'm making them for live right in the same city as me. The other 5 live out of state, so I need to get them in the mail as soon as possible. So let's see what I've made so far. My first card I cut at 5.5 by 8.5, and then I scored it at 4 1/4. And I just used some plain white cardstock. My next layer I cut at 4 inches by 5 1/4, and I then ran it through my Cuttlebug using my medium dots embossing folder. And it's actually not a Sizzix embossing folder or a Cuttlebug embossing folder. I'm not sure what the name is of the embossing folder is that I picked up. My top layer I cut at 3 3/4 by 5. And I used some paper that I picked up on one of my hauls from this Urban Oasis cardstock pad. I then took my Cricut and I cut out the word mama in the shadow feature as well as the word mama. And what I used was my Mother's Day Cricut cartridge solution. This is a really good cartridge if you have to do a lot of Mother's Day gifts. There's a lot of ideas on here and a lot of things to cut. So I'm really glad I picked this up on sale. And then I took some more of the cardstock that I had and I cut this 3 layers of this flower from the Sweetheart Cricut cartridge. And I cut one at 1.5. No, I'm sorry. I cut one at 2 inches, one at 1.5, and then one at 1 inches. And then what I did was I took 2 of them, the bottom layer and the top layer, and I ran them through my Cuttlebug using the Swiss Dots folder. I'm hoping the camera will pick that up. And then after I did that, I took this triple thick brush-on gloss glaze, and I put 1 coat of that on each flower, and then I let that dry, and then I made my flower by stacking and bending back each one of the petals. And then of course I had to add a little bling in the middle. And then I just tied a little bow on the end. So that's the first card. My next card I cut at 4 1/4 or 8.5 by 5.5, and then I scored it at 4 1/4. And I got this paper using this Martha Stewart Essentials pad, paper pad. This has a lot of glitter paper, glossy paper. It's a really nice paper pack. And of course I picked it up on one of my hauls with a 40% coupon. So let me show you what I did. I cut the glitter paper and then I just cut some white cardstock, and I cut the white cardstock at 4 by 5 1/4. And then I cut from the same Urban Oasis cardstock pad, I cut this pink and white paper, and that was cut at 3 3/4 by 5 inches. And then using my Cricut again, I cut out 2 M's from the, actually these were not from the Mother's Day cartridge. I actually cut these from using my Gypsy, because my Gypsy came with these fonts called Gypsy fonts. Really nice. And I just cut 2 of them, and I cut them at 1 inch. And then what I did was I took each M and I ran them through my Xyron Creator sticker. And once I did that, I took my Stampin' Up! Diamond glitter and I put that on top of the stickiness from the stickers. That way the glitter would stick without me having to use a glue stick or run glue across, because it was really hard since this is such fine, intricate with the flourish. And then for the letter O, I put a Prima flower, and then I took a button and put that in the middle. So it spells out the word mom. Okay, my next card, I just used some regular cardstock that I had that I picked up from Joann, so it's just their brand of their cardstock. And the way I cut this one was 4 1/4 by 11, and then I scored it in half to make it 5 1/2. And then that was my bottom layer. My next layer, I took and I cut at 4 by 3 3/4. And then what I did was I took my Martha Stewart scallop punch and I punched one edge. My next layer is cut at 3 1/2 by 4. And then my top layer, I cut at 3 1/4 by 3 3/4. And I took that, and actually it's the same yellow cardstock that the card is made out of. But what I did was I took and I added some mustard seeds glimmer mist, and I glimmer mist the whole sheet, and then I let that dry by using my embossing gun. And then I took some of my glossy accents, and I ran it just along some of the swirls. And in case I didn't mention it, before I glimmer messed it, I did run it through my Cuttlebug using my swirl Cuttlebug and folder. And then again, I took my Mother's Day cartridge and I spelled out the word mom. And then I added ribbon and a button. So that's that card.